Welcome back. It's still Morning Rush, and this morning we are talking about dry eyes with Dr. OPHELIA KYEIWAA, Off Filter Eye. It's been a long time, and finally she's in the studio. How are you?
Blessed.
Hey, we missed you.
Yeah, I miss you too.
Been a minute. Yeah.
We are talking about dry eyes.
Sure.
Let me start by asking, is it a disease or an infection?
Okay, so I would rather take the disease, but it's not an infection.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Dry eye is not an infection. So dry eye actually happens when your eyes don't produce enough tears to lubricate your eyes, or the tears that you produce don't have the integrity to stay on the eye for some time. So that's dry eyes.
You don't have the integrity.
The integrity, yes. So you look at the overview of the tear film.
Okay.
When you look intently into anybody's eye, you see a thin layer of film of tears. What it does is anytime we blink, we have fresh ones being produced to lubricate the eye.
Okay.
When we look at the picture here, to our right, like you see something on top of the eyelid. That's the lacrimal gland. So that's the portion where tears are produced.
Okay.
So especially the water part of the tears, we will look at 3 layers of tears. So when they are produced, they get into the eye, and after lubricating the eye, they pass through. You see there's a structure, there's a thin hole. If you look into anybody's eye, I'm sure you'll see just close to the nose, there's a hole in there, is known as the punctum. So the tears will drain through that, then it goes through our throat, our nose, and it exits the body.
Okay.
That's how come when you instill any eye drop, you realize that you feel, if it's better, you feel the sensation in your throat. So that same way, when the tears finish lubricating the eye, it goes through that same passageway, then it leaves the system.
Wow. Okay. So what is producing the tears?
The tears.
To the eyes?
That's the lacrimal gland.
Yes,
that's the gland. So it's controlled by the brain.
Okay.
So when you don't have enough tears, the brain will instruct it, and it will start producing the lacrimal. So lacrimal means tears. So lacrimal gland.
Okay.
So the tear gland.
Okay. So it can get dried up, or
no? So if the lacrimal gland is not working properly, it means you will not be producing enough tears.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then the question is going to be, what causes it to become dry?
There are a lot of things that can cause it, ranging from hormones. So when there are hormonal changes, it could cause dryness when one ages. Yes. It could
Menopause.
Menopause, like aging in general.
Growing is not easy.
Growing is not easy, true. So aging in general may lead to dryness. Some medications could lead to dryness, like antidepressants, anti-allergy medications could lead to dryness. Some antihypertensive, so medicines that are used for hypertension, could also lead to dryness. Then some disease condition, so people who have diabetes, people who have autoimmune diseases, rheumatoid arthritis and all that could lead to dryness of the eye, yes.
Interesting. So all of these things that happen, but naturally, as a person, your eyes are supposed to have the tears.
Yes, naturally as a person, there's supposed to be a tear film on the eye. If not, the eye will be excessively dry and will come with so many complications. So the picture that went away, we were looking at the structure of the tear film, So the tear film that we see has 3 parts. It has the mucous layer, it has the watery layer. So the watery layer is the portion that is produced by the lacrimal gland. Then it has the oily layer. The oily layer is produced by a gland known as the meibomian gland.
Okay.
So they are in the eyelids.
Okay.
So whenever you blink, aside the tears being produced by the lacrimal gland, there will be release of oil to help protect. That's how come the tear film is able to stay on the eye for long. It helps with the lubrication and it prevents quicker evaporation. So if there's an issue with the production of the watery part of the tears from the lacrimal gland, or there's an issue with the production of the oil. It means that the tears will be produced all right, but will not have the oil to be able to lubricate and stay on the eye. So any challenge with any of these could give us an issue. And also, if there's excess
tears.
If there's excess tears, yes. So what happens is that naturally when people have dry eyes, excessive dry eyes, it leads to tearing. Yeah, it's weird. I know, right?
So if the eyes become so dry.
Yes, if it becomes excessively dry. So what we want is the thin film of tears. So right now I have tear film. As soon as I blink, I have the tear film being produced to lubricate my eye. Yes, but when the eyes become excessively dry, then now you have excess tears being produced. That's how come somebody might be having tears dripping even when the person is not crying. Then the person comes to the clinic and we say you have dry eyes. What happens is that I mentioned earlier that the lacrimal gland is controlled by the brain.
Okay.
So when the eye becomes excessively dry, it will communicate to the brain, and the brain will instruct the lacrimal gland to produce excess tears. But unfortunately, this tear, the tear that will be produced, the excess tears don't have the qualities. It doesn't have good integrity to stay on the eye because you don't have the oily parts being produced and all that.
Yes.
So now the person has excess tears. There's the water part of the tears, and that one is not good for lubrication.
I think I can relate to that when it comes to the Harmattan season, right?
Sure. So when you are in the desert area or when there's dryness, then the eyes will become excessively dry. That's how come you see people tearing a lot during Harmattan.
Let's talk about the symptoms.
Yeah. Okay, so symptoms of dry eye, mainly, a lot of people may have burning sensation. So once in a while you'll be there and it feels like you have pepper in the eye, or as if you have smoke in the eye. It could come with some amount of itching for some people. For others, it will lead to tearing, like we mentioned earlier. Some people could even have some amount of dull headaches. Then it could also lead to blurry vision. So when your eyes are dry, whenever you blink and you have the eyes being lubricated, it clears up your vision. So when the eyes get dry, it makes the vision blurry. And when you have tears welling up in the eye also, it also blurs up the vision. So dry eyes could lead to some amount of blurry vision.
Okay. What happens if it's not treated on time?
Okay, so if dry eyes is not treated on time, if left untreated, it could lead to so many issues. You could have cornea abrasions, so the eye will become excessively dry. You see, you mentioned the Harmattan. During Harmattan, if the skin becomes excessively dry, it begins to crack. So the surface of the eye will become excessively dry. Then it will lead to what we call cornea abrasion. So you have abrasions. If that one too is left untreated, it could lead to ulcers, like sore on the eye. And ulcers, when they heal, will form scars. When you have scars on the surface of the eye, scars on the eye are usually white and opaque. So it means that light cannot travel into the eye and it will affect your vision.
Hey,
dry
eyes. There's a reaction crisis. Everything, lots of things happen. Like
so
that.
Tears are not just for emotions. It's not just as if we just have. When you are not having these conditions, you might think that, when I'm happy, I have tears. When I'm sad, I cry, I have tears, and it might not feel so important to you. But when you begin to have dry eyes, and when it sets in, mostly it becomes chronic. And it gives a lot of discomfort, especially recently when almost every office has the AC, so we are comfortable, we have the AC and all that, but we realize that the air that comes out of the AC is icy dry and all that, so it dries up our eyes. We sit in our car, we have the AC on directly blowing over our eyes and all that, then it leads to dry eyes. If you will notice, when you stay in an air-conditioned room for long, or when you visit the malls and you stay there for long, you come out and your eyes are red, they are sore and all that. Those are some of the symptoms of dry eyes here.
Okay, so there you have it.
That's an education this morning. You see, I have bread.
We tire.
We tire everything.
Serious.
All right.
Dr. OPHELIA KYEIWAA telling us all about dry eyes, and I hope we get we pay attention to the eye. Pay attention to the eye, and we get the right help in case we experience it. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you
Do you have any?
Yeah.